In today's video, we're going to try and answer the question, how much does business insurance cost? Let's get after it. Okay, so today we're talking about how much business insurance costs. So we're going to look at three things. Number one, we are going to look at the factors that go into rating a business owner's policy. Number two, we're going to actually talk about what the average small business insurance premium is. And then finally, we're going to give you a few tips and tricks to try to minimize or lower your small business insurance costs. Okay, so you own your business, you need some insurance. How in the world do you come up with a premium for insurance when it comes to your small business? Well, there are a number of factors, and this is not an exhaustive list. But to get started, we actually need to know what you do. The most important factor to rating insurance is classifying you as to what you do. The risk associated with an account are far different than the cost that might come along with a dynamite factory, right? So a dynamite factory has a wee bit more risk than your everyday accountant. So the type of operation matters. Be sure you can articulate what it is that your business does. All right, so the second and third items are kind of the same. It deals with how much risk might be for your particular type of business. And the way you look at that is twofold. Items 2 and 3, annual revenue being item 2, and then employee/payroll being number 3. Both of these are going to give the insurance carrier a way to see what the exposure looks like. So why is that important? So if you're that dynamite factory and you do $1,000 a year in revenue, you're going to have less risk than if that same dynamite factory actually does $1 billion or $1 million worth of annual revenue. The risks are different. To go with that same light, if you have no employees or one employee, if you have $20,000 worth of payroll versus the business that has 50 employees and $2 million of payroll, you have a little bit different risk exposure then. So the lower those numbers are, the less risk you actually have because your business isn't as big, it's not serving as many people, thus your exposure to lawsuit will not be the same. So once you've got those factored in, then you have to look at the actual types of coverages that you need. So obviously a business owner's policy is the marrying of two different policies, a property policy and a liability policy. If all you need is liability on that business owner's policy, then it's going to be less than if you actually have some business personal property or if you have building coverage. So the premiums will be affected that way. So if you have a building and it's $1 million building that you have to insure, you're definitely going to be paying a lot more in premium than if it was just liability. So the types of coverages that are on that business owner's policy make a big deal. And then loss history. And why is that important? Well, statistically, people or businesses that file a claim tend to file another claim. The businesses and people who never file claims tend to never file claims. So if your business has never filed a claim, then chances are you're going to get a better rating than someone that does the exact same thing you do that has filed a claim or two. And then finally, your experience, your history in the industry that you have or owning a business. Insurance carriers know that people who have owned businesses in the past or have experience in the industry that you're dealing with now tend to have less losses because they know what to expect. They know what's going on. They know how to run a business. So the likelihood that they're going to have a claim goes down, which means your premiums go down. So those are sort of the main factors when you're trying to come up with and determine an actual business insurance cost. Okay, so now that we know some of the factors involved with coming up with a business insurance premium, the question we get all the time is, hey, thinking about doing this, or I do this, what do you think the premium should be? And listen, no one risk is similar to another. We all have our different nuances and intricacies. So what I'll say is this. Let's say you have your average run-of-the-mill 1 or 2 person contractor. So plumbing, HVAC, electrical, things like that. Something in the contracting realm. your average business owner's policy in general liability is going to run you roughly in the state of North Carolina $500 to $1,000 a year. Now, we can add on different things, add different property, equipment, and that premium will go up. But in general, most of the clients that we see, they're in that $500 to $1,000 range. Now, let's say you have a one-person accounting firm and they just need general liability. Maybe that's in that $400 a year range. Now, we also have this whole segment of the new economy. They call it the gig economy, where you have one person doing a thing. Maybe they're doing some consulting, maybe they're doing some yoga, whatever. We've seen some of those policies come in $300 a year range. So you can see there's a wide range just in those small things. If you get bigger, I mean, we have clients that pay us hundreds of thousands of dollars every year for their business owners policies, but they have 50 employees, 100 employees. They have millions of dollars worth of equipment or building or personal property. So saying, hey, what's an average? It's tough. But if I was to kind of look at some of the main things out there, your everyday kind of inside consulting type things, $500 a year. Your average contracting risk for small stuff, $500 to $1,000 a year. If you want to be a roofer, that's a different question. Maybe that's $2,000 a year. Or if you're a tree trimmer, maybe it's $4,000 a year. It varies across the spectrum. So there's no average, but that gives you some good ideas. All right, so we know the factors involved. We know some average premium costs for different small businesses. But how can you positively affect your premiums, aka drive your premiums down? Well, there are a couple of real easy things you can do. And first and foremost is make yourself look pretty. We don't say that enough. Make yourself look pretty. How does that happen though? That means if you own a business, let's make sure that you're keeping up your property in a nice fashion. Let's make sure that you have safety programs in place. Let's say that you have manuals in place, that you're doing the right things. Make yourself look pretty to the insurance carrier. It is a beauty contest sometimes with them because those pretty businesses are the businesses that they want to insure. All right, so we get that out of the way. What are some really simple other steps? Number one, if you can, pay annually. Annual pay policies typically have a slight bit of a discount, 4 or 5% sometimes. It can make a difference. If you have the funds, great. If not, try and put it on a monthly draft. Most of the time with insurance carriers, if you go to monthly draft, they don't charge you that per payment charge, which we're not talking about huge money. But if you're paying a $300 a year policy and you're trying to pay it in 10 months just for ease of doing business here, they're charging you $3 for every payment, maybe more. That adds up. So if you're not going to pay it annual, put it on monthly draft. Finally, bundle your insurance. Just like you would do with your home and auto, bundle your business insurance policies. If you're a business owner, more than likely, not only do you have a business owner's policy, but you have a workers' comp policy. Maybe you have a commercial auto policy. You have an umbrella policy. Maybe you have a cyber insurance policy. Try to get as many policies with the same agent, with the same carrier that makes sense for you. That will drive your costs down. All right. So by now, you should have some sort of better idea about how much small business insurance costs. We know the rating factors, we have some averages, and more importantly, we have some ways that we can kind of lower our premiums, some things that we can actually do as business owners to drive our premiums down. Hey folks, make sure you check out some of the other videos on I think they're over here on our channel. Until next time, we'll see you.